All right, in this video, we're going to be going over the AP Computer Science 3B problem. So this one says, write the createList method, which creates and returns an array list of strings. The method identifies strings in wordList that start with target, so that's this parameter that's being passed in, and returns a new array list containing each identified string without the starting occurrence of target. Elements must appear in the return list in the same order as they appear in wordList. And then there's an example where they give you a word list and what would happen if you called createList with some target. And then it says to complete the createList method. Let's go ahead and start off with some pseudocode just so we kind of understand what the code we're going to be writing should look like. So we know that within this method, we are going to be building up a new array list of strings that have all the words in word list that contain the target, but with target removed from that word. Okay, and so what's important for us to distinguish here is that we do actually have two separate array lists. Right, word list is the one that we are going to be looping over, but we also need to create a new one to store the resulting strings in. So create a new result array list to keep strings in. All right, what do we want to do next? Next, we want to actually loop over word list to determine which words within word list contain the target. So loop over word list. And what do we want to do within that loop? Well, first we want to grab the word that is at the current index that we're looking at. So get the word at the current index. And what do we want to do with that word? Well, first we need to make sure that it starts with target. So target is that parameter that's being passed in. So if that word starts with target, what do we want to do? We want to remove target from the word that we're looking at currently. So if the word starts with target, figure out what word is left over with the target removed. Okay, and then what are we doing with that word? Well, we created a new result array list to keep track of all these strings. So we're going to go ahead and actually add that word to the result array list. And that should be it for our loop pseudocode. So once we're done looping over word list, we've looked at every word inside of word list. What we're going to do is we're going to return the result array list. Remember that we want to be returning the array list. And that should be it for our pseudocode. So let's go ahead and convert this to actual code. So create a new result array list to keep strings in. This we just want to say the type of the array list. It's an array list of strings. Give it a name, let's call it new list. And then since an array list is an object, we're going to be using that new syntax to create an object as opposed to like a primitive. So new array list, also include the type of strings, and then don't forget these parentheses. So we've created that new list. Awesome. It's empty now. So we want to go ahead and add things in it as we loop over word list. So we're creating a for loop. So I always just keep it simple. I do a for loop. You could do a for each loop, whatever suits you. Because it says that items appear in the return list in the same order as they appear in word list, we're going to want to move through the word list starting at index 0 all the way to word list -1. So let's go ahead and set our initial bound to be I equals 0. So that would mean we're using I to index the word list. So what do we want our upper bound to be? We don't want to have an index out of bounds error. So we're going to go ahead and use wordList.size. Remember, it's .size and not .length because this is going to be an array list and not an array. And then we want to look at every element within the array list. So we're going to do I++. And that should be our loop bounds. So we're going to get the word at the current index. Remember, we're using I forgot to int here for int I. Remember that we're going to want to use those array list methods. So you can go ahead and actually look at that little cheat sheet and you can see that we have the get method where you pass in the index and it returns the value in the array list at that index. So let's go ahead and store this in a variable. String current word is equal to wordList.get I. So what do we want to do with that word? We need to figure out if it starts with target. There's actually a few ways that you can do this. I think the simplest one is if you take a look at the string methods within the cheat sheet, there's this method called index of. So let's say, for example, we're looking at the word race car and we're trying to figure out if it starts with the word race. So if we were to call index of on race car, something like this, index of race, this would return 0. Why would it return 0? Well, we were able to find the index of the first occurrence of the string right here, right at the 0th index of our string. So we can use this premise to set up our if statement to determine if our current word starts with target as well. So we'll say if current word dot index of target is equal to 0. What do we want to do then? Then we actually have to figure out what the word is left over with the target removed. Okay, so this is another instance in which we can look at those string methods. Let's go ahead and see if anything jumps out at us. I see that there's 2 different substring methods. There's one that gets 2 parameters, so a starting and an ending index. And then there's another substring method that only has the starting index. So it goes from the starting index to the end of the word. So I think we should use the one that only provides the starting index, and you'll see real quickly why. Let's set it equal to maybe string word without target equal to current word dot substring. What is the starting index that we want? Remember, we want to remove the target. So we know that our current word starts with target. So we want to move target.length number of characters ahead. And at that point, we want to take the substring of the current word. So we would use target.length here. We're sort of inlining it. You can also, set it equal to a variable outside of the for loop. This way, you're just going to be calling it all the time. So just go ahead and do something like target length is equal to target.length. Go ahead and add a comment to this as well. Grab the length of the target word. Okay. And then we can go ahead and just use that here, like target length. Okay. And so this is just going to be giving us the substring after the target within current word. And now we want to add the word to the result array list. So how do we do that? We go ahead, we can look at our ArrayList methods, see if there's anything that sticks out. It looks like we can use the add method. So new list.add word without target. And that should be it for our for loop code. Once we're outside of the for loop, we will have looped over every single word within wordList. So we can go ahead and return new list, which is the resulting array list. And that should be it for our code. So obviously, you should never just walk away from this code. You should go ahead and test it out. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the first method. And then the example has a word list that has the words catch, bobcat, catchacat, cat, and at. And let's go ahead and go through all 3 of those method calls to see what the return value of ArrayList string would be. So in this first method call, the target is cat. So we're going to create a new result array list to keep the strings in. So at this point, we now just have an empty array list. We go ahead and grab the length of the target of the word. So this would be 3. There's 3 characters within cat. Now we're going to loop over the word list. So we're going to start at I equals 0. And we're going to go all the way until it's less than word list.size. How many words are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to make sure that I is less than 5. 0 is less than 5. So we're going to go ahead and grab the current word. So that's the word at index 0. So let me just add the indices here as well. Okay, so we're grabbing the current word, wordList.get of 0, which is catch. We want to figure out if the word starts with a target. So does catch start with cat? Yes, it does. The index of cat within current word is 0. So this is true. What we're going to do, we're going to grab the word without the target. So we're going to take the substring from target.length. So that would be current word.substring 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. From this index onward, that is the word without the targets that we are going to be grabbing. So that's CH. And we want to go ahead and add that word to the result array list. So now our array list has CH inside of it. Let's go ahead and increment our I. So now we're looking at the next element in the word list, which is bobcat. So we grab bobcat, if I can spell it, bobcat here. Does bobcat start with cat? It does not, right? So cat is contained within the word, but we are only looking for words that start with the target. So we would skip over this if statement and we would increment our I again. So now our I is 2. We're going to go ahead and get the word at the second index, which is catchacat, cat. Does catchacat start with cat? Yes, it does. Right here is that word. So this is true. So we're going to go ahead and try to grab the word without the target. So the substring of current word from 3. So 1, 2, 3. This is the resulting word. So then we go ahead and we add that to our new array list as well. So catchacat. I don't know. Catchacat. I don't know how you pronounce that. Anyway, that's the substring that we're adding. We increment our I again. Now we're at the third index. So that is the word cat. We try to figure out if cat starts with the target, which is cat. Of course it does. Cat and cat are the same string. So this is going to be true. And then when we try to substring current word from the target length, which is 3, you might notice 0, 1, 2, 3. At this point, there's nothing left in our string. So the substring from the third index is just going to be the empty string. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our array list as well. Finally, we increment our I again. Now we're at the fourth index. We're looking at the word at. We try to figure out whether at starts with cat. It does not. So this would be false. So we skip over this if statement. And then when we try to increment our I again, we're going to get that 5 is not less than 5. So we have successfully iterated through the entire word list. And now we can go ahead and return the result array list. So that is ch, cha, cat, and then an empty string. And that matches up with the expected array list returned from this method call. All right, so the next method call that we're calling is createList with the target catch. So we go ahead and we create a new list. So it's going to be an empty list now. We grab the length of the target. So that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters within catch. We go ahead and we set up our for loop. So we've set I equal to 0, make sure that's less than wordList is the same as it was for the last method call, which is 5. So we're going to be iterating over 5 different words. We grab the word at the 0th index, which is catch. We try to figure out whether catch starts with the target, which is catch, and that is true, right? Substring of itself. So we get the substring from target.length, which is 5. So there are only 5 characters within catch. So we're going to be getting the empty string again. We're going to add that to our resulting array list. So now we just have an empty string within our array list. We go ahead and we increment our I. So now we're looking at the word at the first index, which is bobcat. We try to figure out whether bobcat starts with catch. It does not. So this will be false. And we're going to skip over this if statement and move on to the next word in the word list. So we move on to the word at index 2, which is catchacat. Does catchacat start with catch? Yes, it does. Right there. So we grab the, so this would be true. We go ahead and we grab the substring from target.length. So here is target.length. We're going to be grabbing the remaining characters, which is ACAT, and we go ahead and we add that to our array list. Then we increment our I again. We're now looking at the index we're looking at the word at index 3, which is cat. Does cat start with catch? No, it does not. This is going to be false. We're going to skip over the if statement. We're moving on to index 4. What is the word at index 4? It's at. Does at start with catch? No, it does not, unfortunately. So this is false, and we're going to skip over this if statement. Then the next time we try to increment our I, we're going to get that 5 is less than 5. That is not true. So we're done with our for loop, and we can return our resulting array list, which is going to be empty string and then ACAT. And this matches up with the expected return value for this createList call. All right, final createList call is with dog as the target. So once again, we're creating a new list to keep the resulting strings in. We're going to grab the length of the target word. So we've got 3 characters there. So this is going to be 3. We're going to set up the bounds of our for loop, I equals 0 less than wordList.size. Still the same wordList as the last 2 method calls. So we're still going to keep going up until wordList.size minus 1. We're going to grab the word at the 0th index, which is catch. We try to figure out, does catch start with dog? No, it does not. So this is going to be false. And then we're going to skip over this if statement. And we're going to go ahead and increment our I. So now we're looking at the word at index 1, which is bobcat. Bobcat. Does bobcat start with dog? No, it does not. So this is going to be false. We're going to skip over this if statement. And now we're going to increment our I again. So now we're looking at the word at the 2nd index, which is catchacat. Does catchacat start with dog? No, it does not. This is false. So we skip over this if statement and we increment our I again. We're looking at the word at the 3rd index, which is cat. Does cat start with dog? No, it does not. So we go ahead and we skip over our if statement and we increment our I again. Now we're looking at the word at index 4, which is at. Does at start with dog? No, it does not. So we're going to go ahead and skip over this if statement and increment our I again. So at this point, we have run out of words in our word list, and 5 is not less than 5, so we're done with our for loop. And we didn't actually add any words to the resulting array list, so when we return the result array list, it's going to have the same values that it had when we created it, which is to say it's not going to have any values inside of it. And that's because none of the words within wordList start with dog. And this result array list matches up with the expectation for the createList call with dog. All right, and here is our resulting createList method. Remember, we're creating a new list. We're grabbing the length of the target. We are looping over the word list. We're grabbing the word at each index, seeing whether it starts with the target. If it does, we're grabbing the substring after the target, and then we're adding that to our new list. So then our new list should contain each of the strings within word lists that start with the target without the target in the word. So hopefully this helps you out with this problem. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll get back to you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.